Hello, and welcome to Game Dev Hours, a podcast about discussing game development and game industry from a game dev student's perspective. So our co-hosts are Chris Headley, an artist and also a writer, Nabil Sekarimi, a indie developer, and Samuel Armanana, a programmer.
Alrighty, so I guess I'm going to start. This first session, we're going to be discussing just some things about ourselves and also how we got into game development. So for me, game development was never the original plan. I didn't have a plan for a long time. And a lot of people grew up playing games at a really early age. I didn't get into games until around when I moved to Florida, which was in 2008, which does sound like a long time ago now that I say it. That's 11 years. But for a long time, there were no gaming consoles in my house. It wasn't so much a video games are evil, you're not allowed to play those, but it was just never really something we had. I can distinctly remember growing up in New Jersey, going over to my friend's house and in their basement they had a GameCube, and I can distinctly remember thinking back to it now, it was one of the really old Mario Party games. I don't know how that friendship lasted through that. And then whenever we would go visit my cousins, they had, I think it was a PlayStation 2 at that time, and they had this open world off-road game, and it was Nightclub. It was Nightclub 2, and the front cover was a blue sports car. I'm still bad at racing games. There's some of my favorites, but there's still something that I'm really bad at. Yeah, I mean, and when I moved to Florida, there's a weird story of how I got onto my current path of games. Started in a library because, like I said, we didn't have any gaming consoles until I think the first one we ever got was a Wii, because the Wii was as common to have as a toaster. Yeah, everybody had a Wii, and that was great. And when I made friends in Florida, we would play Smash Brothers Brawl and all that. But my dad did a lot of video editing work, so the only computers he had were Macs. And there are no games that you can get on a Mac. Yeah, except for the Lego games, which I played a lot with Legos. Oh yeah, I mean those are incredible games, and I'm absolutely glad that was my introduction to gaming. So I was pretty much restricted to things you could play on a browser. And one day I was going to the library to put back a novel I was reading and get the next one in the series, and I passed by a couple of kids on the computer, and one of them was introducing the other to a game called Dragon Fable, which is a 2D Flash-based RPG done by a company here in Florida, actually, Artix Entertainment over in, I think they're in Tampa.
Shameless plug.
And I mean, yeah, they that moment, because I saw them playing that, and I was like, hey, just random kid walking up to you in the library, I was like, what is that? And that kid, whoever he is, thank you for sending me down this path. He helped me make an account, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And there's nothing for me to download. It's just Flash based, so I can play it at home. And from that, I discovered the rest of their games. I played a lot of Adventure Quest Worlds when that came out. A lot of people with their games start with Adventure Quest, which is what they're known for. But yeah. I was a big fan of Dragon Fable. But from there, I got into World of Warcraft, and that Dragon Fable was my gateway drug, essentially. So that was kind of my initial start, and I had and still have a ridiculous number of hobbies. I don't have time for most of them anymore, but drawing and stop motion animation and building with Legos, and since then I have added making cosplay props, and I did a ton of acting throughout middle and high school age. Coming here, I got into using the laser cutters and woodworking, most of which I don't have time for anymore. But all those things kind of built towards me having a love of making things. And when I was searching for when I was going to go to college and what I was going to do, I had initially planned on looking for a school to go for acting. Because that's what I had done all through high school. And UCF was one of my potential choices because it was very accessible to me with getting Bright Future Scholarship and all that. And it wasn't so far from home that I would like be completely homesick. So UCF had a lot of good things with that. And over the course of just considering things, I got into a conversation with my dad, and we kind of talked about like, oh, maybe like I shouldn't actually go to school for acting, and not in a like, you're not allowed to follow your dreams, don't go to acting. That was very much a situation of like, hey, this is like acting is a thing that I've done for years already. And so like through that conversation, thinking about that, it's like, okay, so maybe if I'm going to go to college, I should be going for something that's maybe like a little more specialized. And looking at the programs at UCF, and we realized, oh, like UCF has a pretty damn good game development program. And like looking over like the course requirements and all that type of thing, I realized it combined so many of my interests. I was like, oh, that's it. That's perfect. And so that's the program I signed on to. That's the major I declared. I came here for that, and I got it. Like the moment where it hit me of like, yes, this is absolutely what I want to do, was actually through game dev nights. And it's, the first couple months into school, and I'm having like that initial freshman thoughts of, oh God, have I picked the thing that I want to do? Is this going to be my career? What am I doing? And then I came to the Spooky Game Jam. And from that, I just went. I went as an artist. I had never opened a modeling program. I had never opened any of like the dev tools that I've come to know now. I was just there. I was like, okay, I'll join a team. I'll do 2D art or animation or something. And I joined a team, and we made like what could best be described as chocolate Tetris.
Wait.
Yeah. It was the theme of that Spooky Game Jam was candy. So the game they posed was essentially like a block matching game with pieces of chocolate. So we just kind of nicknamed it Chocolate Tetris. And I spent most of that just I did like background art, and I did touch ups to like the different assets, like the UI and all that type of thing. I recorded some sort of like Candy Crush style voice lines for every time you get something. Like every time you set up a match, there was just like me in the background going, tasty. The whole thing was like nearly completely broken. Like the highlight was we got it to match something once, and then like the entire board filled up, and because we didn't have a way to stop it if it like went overboard, like it was a complete glitchy mess, and it was the highlight of my freshman year, and it was the thing that solidified for me, oh yeah, this is absolutely what I want to do. And since then I've gone to 3 more game jams hosted by Game Dev Nights, and from one of those, I had
a shameless plug, like ding whenever.
Yeah, we just gotta set up a. But I am being honest. Game Dev Nights has definitely been a big factor in me, like figuring out that this is really what I want to do.
Would you say like a lot of your experience in like game dev has come from game jams mostly?
Not so much learning, but definitely in the factor of game jams are kind of the only real opportunity you have, unless you're doing indie development like you are, to like actually be in the environment of game development, because game jams are basically a really microcosm version of like crunch practically. But those have definitely like opened my eyes to like the actual process, and being in that environment where like everyone is really driven to create something in such a short time is a really good environment.
Did you know you wanted to be an artist before you got to UCF, or was this after the first game jam and being introduced to like the tools?
I had always kind of leaned towards the art track of things. Math was always something that was not like my specialty, and the idea of getting into the higher level math concepts that are required for coding, it's it's the type of thing that for me, I was like, that would probably be more than I could handle. Yeah. So another thing that got me into game development, and sort of when I was beginning to consider, I should go to school for this, was the Mass Effect series, actually. And those games, particularly because it was a bridge between game development and acting for me, because just the sheer amount of voice acting that's in those games, there was like a moment playing those games where I realized, like this is a career. This is a thing that you can do. You can be one of these characters in these games. So that really inspired me to like look into it. And
what are some things that you're planning on learning, like moving forward?
Rigging. Did I mishear you, or did you say rigging?
Huh? No, I said like, or get into.
Oh yeah. I heard rigging, so that I definitely I got to start learning Maya for the first time last semester, and it was immediately something that I was like, oh, okay, I get this. I can work with this. I've worked a lot with like the Adobe Suite and that type of thing, and this is kind of my first foray out into broader programs. But Maya like clicked pretty clearly with me when I started using it. And initially, I kind of the idea at the back of my head was always for a long time character animation and character concepting, that type of thing. I've learned a lot more about like those now, and there's still things that I really enjoy. I really enjoy doing character concepts, but it's also one of the most competitive positions in the whole industry.
Yeah.
And since working with Maya, I've kind of discovered a love for like hard surface modeling and prop building. Which fits into, like I mentioned, I got into designing things for like cosplay and that sort of thing. So that actually kind of gels with things that I already enjoy. So definitely moving forward, I want to learn a lot more about sophistications of modeling. I want to take some time to study things like writing shaders and sort of the tech art side of things.
So you want to move more into 3D rather than 2D?
A little bit of both. I definitely.
But 2D is so great.
2D is absolutely incredible. I love doing 2D, but I enjoy working with 3D as well since I've been introduced to it. And there's a lot of really cool things you can do with 3D. But 2D is definitely has like a big place in my heart as well. From the games that I play to the games that I've gotten to work on, which is something that I realized my own brain went off on a tangent in a different direction because I had been talking about game jams, and I failed to mention the game jam when I started working with you, Nabil, which was I don't know if you want to talk more about this in your section, but
I guess I'll.
Yeah, I'll just put my part into it, which was that was like one of the best game jam experiences I've ever had, and we made something that not only functioned but was really fun. And I remember like afterwards, like people were still like hanging around and playing it, even though like the jam had ended, and we were like, we should keep working on this. But after we made Hamster Battle Royale, as the name was made after for the jam itself, we kind of got together and we're like, yeah, we should absolutely keep working on this. Yeah. So now that I have talked everyone's ears off enough, why don't you introduce yourself, Nabil?
Yeah, so if anyone in Game Dev Nights doesn't know me, I am Nabil Sekarimi. So for my story, like most people, started at the ripe old age of 7. My parents had gotten me a Super Nintendo, and the hitboxes on Donkey Kong just perplexed me to the point where I like gridded up my TV screen with like expo markers, which they did not like or appreciate at all, trying to figure out the hitboxes. And that just like led to a spiral of me just trying to dissect the games that I owned and trying to understand how they worked. Then about like a year later, we got internet and a computer, which getting a computer for like a 7.5-year-old is an excellent decision next to giving them internet and no restrictions.
Oh yeah.
Immigrant parents have like the best intentions, but so I went on this, crazy thing called Google, and I was like, how to make games. And there's this stuff coming up about like programming one, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to get directly to making games. And then this software came up called Game Maker. Opened it up, it required programming, so I uninstalled it. And then
this would return to your life eventually.
Right. And then so I kept Googling, and Scratch came up, which is like a visual scripting thing for like, who made it? Like MIT?
MIT.
Yeah, the MIT made. So like I downloaded that back in the time that you actually had to like download it and install it. And I made games in that for like 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so I made like a Halo, like I made like 2 like Halo games, except they were staged in Mario levels. So I like recreated Donkey Kong, but you were Master Chief instead of Mario. These are all still online, by the way. Like you could look me up on Scratch and I would be there with these exact games I'm listing off. Yeah, so it's like Donkey Kong except you're Master Chief, and then it's like level 1-1 of Mario except you're Master Chief.
Amazing.
And then I made like a whack-a-mole game, except they're like parrots. I think I'm in it too.
You put your face in there?
Yeah, I put my face in there, and like when you hit me, I make like a really like loud like screeching sound.
11-year-old in the bill.
It's like it's the little toasty Easter egg, except like far more jarring.
Yeah, so like I did that for a while, but I kind of got tired of it because it's like I can't compile games. Like if I ever want to show off my games, like they can only play them in browser. But it's like, no, I want to make like computer games like the real people do, right? So then I was like, all right, maybe I'll like try this coding thing. I was like, this thing called Game Maker popped up a while back, so why don't I try that out, right? So I downloaded, I think it was like Game Maker 7.
So you went from I want to be a real game maker to downloading Game Maker?
Yeah, basically. And then this, I feel like once you get like a decent grasp on game development, I feel like you go through this period of time where you like try to go after a bunch of overscoped things.
Always.
Yeah, so like I'm just like, okay, I think I understand this, right? Like some stuff's translated from scratch. Plus like Game Maker has like a visual scripting thing in itself. So I'm just like, I'm gonna make an MMO.
the way all good intentions begin.
and good intentions like go to hell.
How to find a beginner who wants to make an MMO.
Excuse me?
How to find a beginner they want to make an MMO.
Yeah, so I got like the movement
networking that'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I was just like, yeah, no, that's fine. I'll just like that'll be like towards like
that's just a plugin you install, right?
Yeah, no, that's be in the back half of development, right? It'll be completely fine. Yeah, so I made like basically a Pokemon clone, like without Pokemon, I don't know what to call that, like what most like RPG Maker games look like. Yeah, except it was like really bad. Like you couldn't even like move diagonally. Like it was really bad, as like most people's like first games are.
Up, down, left, right. That's
yeah, up, down, left, right.
You got the basics then.
Yeah, like you hit the enemies and like the game just like exits. Like there isn't even like a lose state. It just completely exits out of the game. Yeah, so after realizing that was a bad idea because, like, networking is a monster.
It's still a monster.
It's still a monster. I was like, all right, I'm going to scope it down a bit. We're going to make an FPS like Halo.
So you downscaled just a little bit.
I went straight to an FPS.
Yeah. Yeah, like, keep in mind, I'm doing this in Game Maker. Not even, like, Game Maker Studio or Studio 2, which is still, like, a very bad idea, but like Game Maker 7, right? So after I want to say 3 months of Googling and going through the menu like extensively, I got a basic idea of how like getting models into Game Maker worked. And everybody ended up just being like spheres, like textured spheres. And the maps can only like load in one texture. And I think the guns weren't even models. They were just
2D planes?
No, they weren't even 2D planes. They weren't even like being rendered in 2D. They were just like pictures of the guns. They were pictures of the guns, but like drawn directly to the screen. So they'd always be in view, regardless of where you pointed.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, you're like years ahead of most people already at this point, because you're like already in the thick of it, and you're like, how old were you at that point?
I want to say around so the Halo game, I was in middle school, and I was like 7th grade, I want to say. I don't know what like age that corresponds to. But
Probably around like 12.
Yeah, but it's been like a good minute. Excuse me?
14 is high school.
Okay.
Minus 2.
Yeah.
Math.
I know when I started high school, I ended up working on this Terraria clone, and I literally spent my 4 years of high school working on this game, and it's like I look back on it, I'm just like, this is like garbage. This is complete garbage. And like when it came time to start applying for universities or whatever, I found out that UCF had a game design program, right? But I confused it for FIA. So instead of applying for like UCF, I applied for FIA with the Terraria clone. And they're just like, this is really cool and really impressive, like, but where's the bachelor's degree at? So I ended up going to community college for 2 years and then transferring here later.
Where do you go to community college?
Hillsborough Community College. It's like small little community college in Tampa. Yeah.
So then since transferring here, you've done a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I've like still been involved in like game jams. I'm trying to think the first game jam. The first game jam I think I did with GDK was the Spooky Game Jam. I pitched doing like a Super Smash Bros. Clone.
Is that where the rule of like don't make a fighting game comes from? Yeah,
so I did a Super Smash Bros. Clone. I had like, it was me and like 4 artists and then one other like freshman programmer. I will still say to this day that like that game was working for most of the game jam, and then like towards the end, and I'm talking like 20 minutes into submission hour, all my animation scripts broke.
Oh no.
So I'm just like, well, the screen has to show something, so I'll just make it render out rectangles or squares or whatever. Yeah.
Oh my god, I think I remember this.
Yeah, and then we changed it. Yeah, and then we changed it from like the because we had like a mummy, a witch, and like 2 other characters like drawn out and fully animated with all their attacks.
I think this would have been the year before I got here then. Because I think the previous jam was Monsters before the one I went to.
It was Monsters. Yeah, I do definitely remember the theme was Monsters. So yeah, I ended up just submitting it with like, you're just fighting squares on like this really well drawn stage, and then we just call it a Super Budget Bros. Yeah, I want to say don't make a fighting game into your game jam, but like now that I've gotten a lot better, I want to try it again.
Just save that for the next one. It's like whatever the theme is, you'll make it a fighting game somehow.
Yeah,
just an excuse to do it.
Yeah.
So what are you working on right now?
Oh man, okay. All right, so before I can talk about what I'm working on now, I feel like I have to talk about the game jam where this started. So we organized a game jam with USF, the UCF versus USF game jam. And we were like talking amongst ourselves as officers, like what somebody should do like an example pitch, right? I didn't know that like Adrian was gonna actually like kind of like brush past that, but I felt like there still should be like
an initial pitch.
Yeah, like an initial pitch, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, let me just pitch something completely ridiculous that like no one would ever like try to sign on to. I'm just like, I know. A battle royale. I was like, no. A battle royale is like too typical. A battle royale with hamsters. There we go. So
it's insane enough that no one.
Yeah, insane enough to like nobody in their right mind would sign up for this, right? So like, I pitch it and then I get my oh yeah, no, and then to top it off, I'm doing a battle royale with hamsters and Game Maker. So I'm like, yeah, no, that's a trifecta. Like no one's touching this. So I pitch it and I like hang my little poster up, and then Chris and Marco walk up to me, and they're just like, yeah, we want to work on this, and I'm just like. You're reading the pitch, right? Like this isn't a gotcha moment. Like, you do understand what you're signing up for. So, like, I'm just like, well, I guess I have to actually make this now. So, I did we got together, and we do the first thing that you do whenever you start a game jam, like take your scope and then like cut it in half.
Yeah.
So Battle Royale turned into local multiplayer. So what we ended up with at the end of the game jam was a 4-player local multiplayer. I guess you could say Battle Royale because you like spawn in.
Yeah, you
find weapons.
We used a lot of elements from Battle Royale. If you're dropped randomly into the map, there are weapons scattered about.
But do you fly down out of an airplane?
Marco and I were working on animations where you would drop in a hamster ball.
Yeah.
I think Marco even he drew up the hamster ball, but I don't know if we ever got.
Yeah, no. In the code for the original game, like the hamster ball's in there. It's just like.
We never got that animation done.
Yeah, we were in submission hour. It's like, no, we can't get this in.
Yeah. So alongside that, because like since then like I mentioned after that game jam, we were like, we should totally keep working on this. Yeah. I remember we had a meeting like a week later or something just to discuss like, okay, are we actually doing this?
Yeah.
And we ended that by like just playing the game for an hour.
Yeah.
And
like,
that was sort of the fact
is gonna happen.
The fact that we could play it for an hour in the state that it was in at the end of the game jam, we could play it for an hour and have fun. We were like, okay, we have something really solid to start here. And then Marco and I signed on to Soulcade. So when did you like start Soulcade officially?
Oh boy, okay, that's a story in itself. All right, so now we have to like go back to like Nabil in community college.
Alrighty.
So I was involved in this entrepreneurship program that HCC had, where you like try to get a business like up and running in about like this semester, so like 4 or 5 months ago. So like I enrolled in it because I'm like, like I'm the son of 2 immigrants, so they kind of like push you to be like entrepreneurial or business minded. And I was like, I really like games. Like I'm like at this point, like I've known for like since about 7 or 8, like this is what I want to do, right? And like working for people like just doesn't sit well with my DNA, right? So I was like, yeah,
let's put it together.
Yeah, so
oh my god.
So I like decided there and then like I want to make my own game studio and like actually pursue this, because like starting like after graduating just felt like a bad idea to me personally. I felt like, let me get the groundwork, out of the way. Let me, get some experience under my belt, and like let me like make a product that might potentially do well, because like the statistic or whatever is that like your first game is it going to be like like Minecraft or Fortnite or whatever. So I like made the website, got like my basic business plan and stuff together, and then I started working on a game. I don't suggest anyone work on a game in a genre that they hate, but I figured, what, let me try it, right? So I'm gonna go at this by making a racing game. An online multiplayer racing game in 3D.
You just keep stacking things on top of each other, like bad ideas compounding all together.
Yeah, like my entire like discography is like bad ideas. Somehow like getting to some level of completion. Yeah, so I started working on an online multiplayer racing game, except the tracks were going to be procedurally generated. And the idea would be that like no one would have the advantage of like knowing the track before anyone else. Yeah, a lot more work goes into that than I anticipated. So like I got a basic online multiplayer system working. I got like the Steamworks API working in it and everything. But like even with all of that, procedurally generating racing tracks in like a coherent way is a mess. It is quite the mess.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, and it was like about around the time that I'd gone to like the UCF versus USF game jam. I was like, you know what, like I should scope down like more. Like I should do something that's like very well within my arena, and then like I can scope out as I gain more experience, right? Which is why I feel like the game that we're working on right now like is like has a good scope.
Yeah.
Nothing's like too insane. But yeah, like going back to that game jam, I feel like whenever people ask me like about Super Hamster Havoc, it's just kind of like, yeah, so like, you know, we got together for the game jam and then it just never ended.
That's kind of the running joke of it. It's like we never quite stopped jamming.
Yeah, we just kept going at it. But yeah, so we got together at like my place and started playing. You know, we played the game, like firmly decided like we wanted to do this, and then we signed up for it was no TronCon, it was
IX.
Yeah, Orlando IX.
Yeah,
and then we like jammed out for a month, played it there, and I believe like all of us had this moment like I'm pretty sure we were already dead set on making this game, but like seeing kids play the game.
That was a surprise. Like how, because like we had a lot of people come by over the course of the event, but near to the end of it, like we had a group of like 6 kids that were all like sitting around on these chairs playing the game together and just like going at it completely. And that's kind of like, for me, that's always kind of been the thing with Super Hamster Havoc, is the idea of like recapturing like what I had sitting with my friends when I was a kid, playing Super Smash Bros. And like these games that you can sit down or on the couch with your friends and have fun. Yeah, and like I feel like my North Star for game like development in general is just like I believe that games have the potential to like bring the best out in people, and I feel with like local multiplayer games in particular, like the camaraderie that it creates and like the communities that it fosters is like something that I very much admire and something I very much want to foster with Super Hamster Havoc. And that's like my personal goal for this specific game, right? If I can bring people together with this game, like then this game is successful as far as I'm concerned.
Do you have any good experiences with co-op games that you can like talk about?
So before Super Hamster Havoc, I was working on...
I mean like games that you played.
Oh, games that I play. Okay, all right. So I was, let's see, Super Smash Bros., which I think is like everyone's like, at least like at one of everyone's like touching points of local multiplayer games. Diddy Kong Racing for the N64. And let's see, GoldenEye. Yeah, GoldenEye.
I think that's a staple for a lot of people.
Yeah.
What you're learning?
Yeah, what am I learning? Oh boy.
Beautiful.
Oh boy.
Let us know. Just tell us.
You've been thrown into the fire now with this particular semester.
Yeah. So you know, stupid me decided to go to school, and apparently like the industry doesn't like game makers, so I have to put on my big boy pants and learn stuff. So right now I'm actually like I have my hands in a lot of different things. So I've actually like installed I've actually had like a lot of engines installed on my computer this entire time, right? But like I'm actually like starting to take deeper dives into them. So like this week I took like a really deep dive. Yeah, I took a really deep dive into Unity. I've been messing with Unreal. I've been messing with like Godot, Lumberyard, and things of the sorts. I've been getting like a lot more languages under my belt, like PHP and Node.js for like more server side and like online multiplayer kinds of stuff. Yeah, I'm just like trying to diversify myself in terms of like engines and programming languages. So like I'm less limited in terms of the things that I want to make and the scope of things that I can produce.
So I'm Sam. I got into game making. I got into gaming actually like very young. I think I was like 4.
We've gone progressively. Like I started when I was like 10, and then 7, and then 4. We're just progressively getting younger.
I feel like this is a contest now.
Let's go back. I started off playing Sonic on the Genesis.
Okay, I don't feel as bad now.
Like the best memory was playing Sonic, and like I was like 4, and it was Easter, and like we were about to go out and go get the eggs. I was just sitting in my room playing Sonic, having a good time, you know?
Yeah.
And that's all I remember until I was like 6, and then I got into RuneScape because of my brother, and I wanted to like jump in with him. RuneScape is like a lot. It's very good. Best memory ever. I spent like at least 4 years on that. It was amazing. This was like in 2006.
Okay.
2005. So, and then after that, I got a Wii, and then we played Mario Kart Wii. That was probably the best experience as well. Mario Kart Wii. So like my top
the Wii was a good console.
The Wii was amazing. It was like they had good games.
Oh yeah.
Like Mario Kart Wii is all we played for like hours straight. We would play like online and like destroy people.
Nice.
It was awesome.
There was
I just club stomped in Mario Kart.
I just had a flashback to there was a library when I moved over. No, this was still living over on the Gulf of Mexico side of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a group at the library that would get together every week and like set up a projector and play Mario Kart. It is amazing.
Well, back to what I was, so Mario Kart Wii, and then after that, I was on the PlayStation before that too, and I played a lot of Rainbow Six with my brother, the 2-player co-op single-player campaign. Getting networking in the PlayStation 2, we never played any online games, because you needed to do some like special stuff, you know, like have an Ethernet cable connected to it. So Rainbow Six on the PlayStation 2. Playing a lot of Star Wars games on the PlayStation 2 as well. And then the Xbox 360 came out. And the first thing we got was Xbox 360 with Call of Duty MW2. That was my first person shooter.
That's a good introduction.
Call of Duty.
If that had to be a modern one, Modern Warfare 2 would be a
Modern
good
Warfare 2
introduction.
is like the best game ever.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here. The best Call of Duty. And then I got into game making shortly after that when Minecraft came out and it got really big. I got into game making through modding. So I had my own server, my Minecraft server. Yeah. If you guys want to join my Minecraft server,
My IP is.
I had like a noip.org thing.
Yeah.
That was like, once you had
It's like you were official.
I was official. I had no IP. So I had like my own server, and then I met some dude in there who did modding for Minecraft, and he like showed me how to get into it. And then I picked up Java, and then I started doing like Java applications on my own outside of Minecraft to like understand Java before going into modding. And then I made like these text-based console games where you like enter commands into like the console, and then it like outputs.
Yeah.
And then you like make branches.
Yeah.
The story. So I did that, and then I got back into Minecraft and made a Battlefield mod. It had like guns in it. So like the big thing in Minecraft around 2011, 2012 was guns. So if you had guns in it, that was like the big thing people were looking for, like search, and it was just guns. So once you had guns inside your mod, you were pretty much set. You had like $1 million downloads.
Top of the search list automatically.
I was actually like top 20 on, I forgot the name of the big Minecraft modding thing. I think it was like Planet Minecraft or something. And then I got like at the height, I was getting like 60,000 downloads a month. And I had AdFly, which gives you like $5 for every 5,000 views. I was making like around $30. This was like a lot of money as a 13-year-old.
Yeah, that's.
I was like a billionaire. Like buying stuff on Amazon and then waiting till it comes in. Best memory. And then I got into Unity. I installed Unity. Unity is like so good.
Yeah.
I installed Unity. It was like super hard to get into though. I set up a scene with a sun. I actually made a sphere. I changed the color to yellow and just had a light on it. And like the default particles that you get when you install Unity back in like Unity 4, early 4. So it was like a crappy fire effect around the sphere, and it was just a directional light shooting out of the sun onto you. And you just walk around with the default first person controller that they had. And then I dropped that because that was too hard. And then I went back to Minecraft and I made a Butter World one. So Butter was apparently like a meme in Minecraft, or it was like super popular. Because one of the big YouTubers was like obsessed with butter. And then it became like a meme, like everybody wanted to make like butter mods. So I made a Butter World mod, and all it did was like create a bunch of weird blocks, like butter related blocks, and then I actually made a new universe too. Like, you know, the Nether. Nether, but it was made out of butter blocks.
Did you have to build a portal to get to it?
Yeah, you had to build a portal with butter obsidian.
Amazing.
And then you had to right click it with it was fire still too.
You have to melt the butter to open up the portal.
You need to squeeze in there the butter. The portal, instead of being like purple, it was like buttery. It was like butter falling down. It was beautiful.
It sounds like it's just like a very, very greasy world.
It was a very greasy world. I had like this little snowman dude made out of butter too. He had like 6 for arms. You just like follow you around. It was a nice little universe I made. And then I was like inspired of making that universe, and I wanted to make a like game on my own. So I got Unity back again, and this was the time where I actually stuck with it. So I like followed.
So we both kind of like went through that thing.
Yeah.
Where it's just like you discover the thing that you're gonna like dump like a decade into.
Yeah.
See, I'm realizing that the reason like I never got into coding was because my start with mods was with the creation engine for Fallout New Vegas and Skyrim. But yeah, so I got doing modding through that. Like I never had to touch any of the code, which was like partially because I was like terrified of coding. But then you dived right into it,
Yeah, modding Minecraft is like you're basically just writing code.
You basically decompile the game into Java, and then you get like every class, and you can see everything inside the game.
Yeah.
And you just create like your own classes and hook it onto like what they created. So it's pretty difficult to do, but if you have somebody like guiding you, like I did, it's a lot easier.
Yeah. And then picking up Unity for the second time and approaching creating your own game. And that was, I remember, because Unity only kind of discontinued using JavaScript semi-recently. So I'm assuming you were coding, you took what you learned from JavaScript with modding and then applied that to coding for Unity.
But Minecraft is Java, right?
Minecraft is Java.
Yeah.
Now
it's like straight Java.
With like Microsoft.
Yeah.
It's like straight Java. He like made his own rendering engine and everything.
Yeah.
Wait, he used OpenGL, my bad. Which is like a rendering library for Java.
Yeah.
Technically, I did make my own like game in Java, straight Java, like right after and before I went into Unity. It was a tower defense game, and you like placed these towers, and it like drew a line. It was using like the Swing library, which is just like a 2D like rendering tool, and you can render like 2D sprites and stuff. And I literally like drew lines instead of bullets to like the enemies, to like the tip of the tower and then going into the enemies. And then it like reduced their HP and stuff. after that, I got into Unity, and then I used JavaScript because I was naive and I thought JavaScript was like Java, but like better.
Yeah, like this is the pro strat, right?
But in Unity too. So Unity and JavaScript are not the same. It's Unity scripts, which is what it's like officially called now instead of JavaScript. And back then they also had Boo. I was like looking into how Boo works, and I'm like, once I saw the like snippets of it, I'm like, no. So Unity scripts. I started off making my own first-person shooter, online, mind you. Online.
It's that little asterisk of it's gonna be online is like the thing that always.
Yeah.
So it was an online FPS game. Making the online work was quite a challenge. It was like.
Was it like LAN or
it was like a nightmare level. It was online, like networked online.
Like mediated server online or like direct connect?
No, mediated server.
Oh man, you dove deeper than me.
Unity had like their own networking system before UNet came out. It was using RPCs, and you had to like connect to a master server.
Okay.
You had to do a bunch of stuff. And I did that, and then it didn't work. And then I quit that. I got a point too. Like I got enemies did like other people could move around and like sync.
Yeah.
And then I moved out of that, and I got into making game jams. So Ludum Dare.
Ludum Dare.
I did that in around 2014 to about like 2015, and I did like 4 Ludum Dares. One of the big ones was K-Ballers, which is a game I made right before I got into high school, and it was pretty well received. I got a medal, like in Ludum Dare, you get like medals for different ratings. And I got a medal for coolness.
Nice.
So I was like, and like all the comments were pretty positive. People were telling me like, continue this project. I want to see how it turns out. So during high school, I did that, and all throughout high school, I just kept making the game. In senior year, I published the game on Steam in around February of last year. So that was pretty good. It's got about 8,000 activations so far.
Okay. My man's rolling in dough.
No. There was a lot of bundles. So bundles give you a ton of downloads, but they don't give you a lot of revenue.
Yeah.
So that's a strat. If you want to boost up your numbers for PR.
And then you have to like split it with Steam and stuff too.
Yeah, you have to split it with Steam, and then if you do bundles, you have to split it with a bundle provider.
Yeah.
And like everybody else who's in the bundle.
You did this by yourself. You didn't like get a publisher or anything, right?
Yeah, no, I did all the art. I did all the art, mind you, is pretty bad. I did all the art. I did all the programming, all the animations. But the only thing I didn't do was audio, and that was about just audio I didn't do. I did everything else. I published it myself and integrated Steamworks. So yeah, my focus is like programming. I mostly got into C#, but I moved into networking and like backend development and also web development, which is what I kind of want to focus on here in UCF. I'm a computer science major. I used to work at a studio where we made 2 Nintendo Switch games, and it was a pretty good experience. I didn't feel as if I had a lot of creative freedom working at a studio, so that's why I kind of want to switch into more software. If I want to work at a company,
come on, man.
If I do want to work at a company, it would be more software, but I definitely want to do indie at some point in my life and just work on my own.
So you're
like a small group of people who are like-minded.
So you're comfortable with being in like a larger studio, but for the more creative things and making games, that type of thing, you'd rather have it be your own vision.
Yeah, like games is very important to me, and I compared to like making like software for a company. So making games is very important, and I want to have a say in the creative process. and you don't really get that at a studio working as a programmer. So that's why I wanted to go into more software and do that. What I'm currently learning is React, which is like a web development framework, and being able to integrate that with Node.js and also Unity to make like multiplayer games.
Oh man.
I hopped into the Node.js train.
Man.
It seems pretty popular.
It's great. It's great.
So yeah, that's what I'm currently working on.
All right, guys. So like we have some events coming up for GDK. We have a workshop on February 2nd, and we're gonna have a social on February 7th.
So Global Game Jam is the
Oh yeah, we have
25th
boy.
until the 27th on January. So make sure to sign up.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to Game Dev Hours. We also want to give a special thanks to Marco Flores for our theme song, Sia Papuanu, our writer, and our producer, Heather Miller. If you are a University of Central Florida student interested in game development, come check out Game Dev Nights. We host events like game jams and workshops to learn about game development and get experience as a student. Thank you again for listening, and have a great day, everyone.